This video is for the smoker that is interested in trying out electronic cigarettes, or the very beginning vapor. If you are neither of those, go ahead, go in the description, click on the timestamps, and go to the unboxing or to the end to hear what I think about it.
Swinging on and happy, hippie, yeah. Hippie, yeah.
What's up YouTube, welcome back to Whacked Out eSig. Today I'm reviewing the Kangertech Top Evod Starter Kit. Now, there are so many different electronic cigarettes right now, and it may be hard and intimidating to find the right one. They all look differently, they all perform differently, but they all function in the same way at the base level. So at the base level, there is what we call a mod, and the mod has a button on it. Usually you hold it in your hand and it contains a battery. The battery provides power to the part on top, which we call the tank. The tank holds liquid, but it also contains a coil. Inside of that coil, there's wire that's wrapped up, and there's cotton either inside of the wire or around it, and the cotton absorbs the liquid. The wire heats up and vaporizes that liquid off of the cotton, and that's what you're inhaling, the vaporized e-liquid. Now, choosing the right electronic cigarette for you can be very, very intimidating. I work in a vape shop, so I know how it is, and I've found a way to kind of make it as easy as possible. The main things you want to think about are how many cigarettes you smoke a day, where you smoke them, and also what you think about how it looks and feels, because if you're using it to replace cigarettes that you have on you, you're looking at, you're feeling all day, you want it to be comfortable, you want it to be natural, and you want to get used to it as quickly as possible. As far as how long the battery lasts, for this particular kit, it has a 650 milliamp hour battery, which you may not understand right now, but in the context of smoking, I would say, based on my experience, if you smoke around half a pack a day, this will probably get you through the day. If you smoke a pack a day, I would advise getting maybe 2 of these or at least another battery so that when this dies, you can swap it out and you're good to go. How many cigarettes you smoke does play into the battery life, but it also plays into what strength of nicotine liquid you're going to be putting into this. The amount of nicotine you want in your liquid varies from person to person and also device to device. For this one particularly, I would say if you smoke a pack a day, a pack of cigarettes a day, you're probably going to need at least an 18 in this, because this is so inefficient at delivering nicotine, and we'll talk about that a little later. So before I talk to you about my experience using this, we're going to go up close. I'll show you how it comes in the box, how to set it up, the different features, which there aren't many, but still good to see, and then we'll come back up, and then we will talk about my experience vaping it. So let's get to it. Alright, so here we have the box for the Kangertech Top Evod. You can see it there. Nice packaging by Kangertech. Get a QR code, what comes in the box, etc, etc. And this just slides out like that. In the box as well, you get your user manual, which has some good information on it. All the specs are there. There's a bunch of warnings. One interesting warning that I found, if I can focus on here, number 12, use the provided tank and battery as a kit and do not separate to use other tank or battery. Fuck that, Kangertech. This battery kind of sucks, so I will be separating it. And then an authenticity card to make sure that you have an original product from Kangertech. Based on this price, which was about 11 bucks US, don't think anyone will be cloning this, but you never know. In the box you get your charger connected to a USB, and then this is a 510 charger. If you don't know what it is, I'll show you in a minute, but basically smaller Ego batteries like this, they don't have a micro USB. You have to use it like this. Not the biggest deal, but it stops you from being able to vape it while it's charging. So this is it all together, basically. 2 different colors, one for the tank and one for the battery. Kind of strange, not sure why they did that, but maybe this is just a regular Evod battery that they figured, okay, let's just throw it in the kit. Very simple, one button will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll turn off, give you the light show, then you can't use it. 5 clicks again, it'll turn it back on, and that's pretty much all you need to use the button for, besides from vaping it. So you press it and hold it to vaporize the e-liquid. On top, this is the Top Tank Evod. If I can focus on that. the top tank, Evod, and the only difference really in this is the top fill. So you just unscrew the top and fill it up. This is a really good improvement as opposed to having to take off the mod, take out the coil, fill it from the bottom. And leaning it on the side now, because it's so full, I didn't really think of that before. Just make sure it's upright every time that you do that, or else it will get covered in liquid. Let me clean this off quick. Okay, so the drip tip on top is actually pretty nice. So it's Delrin or Palm, some kind of plastic, but it's small, like the size of a cigarette, which is nice. The only improvement they could have made is if this was kind of soft. I think that would be a really great drip tip for it, because you want people to feel like they're smoking without smoking, right? That's the goal anyway, I think, when it comes to starter kits. They're halfway there with this, which is nice. And it is removable. If you don't like that, you can pop it out, put in your own one. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The airflow holes are very small. There are 3 of them, I believe. 1, 2, 3. And even though they are very small, the coil that comes with this, it's such a small coil, and it has such a high resistance of 1.5 ohms that the airflow is actually too much. So that is your coil. When you need to replace it, you basically unscrew it, throw it out, take a new one, put it back in. It only comes with one in the box, so you need to find these. But any reputable store that sells the old style Kanger Evod coils, the dual coils, what do they call them? The VCOTT, so something along those lines. I'll put it up here, the right name. They will work in here, and they have variable resistances. Like there's 1.5, I think there's 1.8, a 2.2. There's a few. Came with the 1.5. Spring loaded 510 as far as I know, and it's brass plated is what it looks like. So this just screws in because it's ego threaded. It looks very nice and clean on there. When you want to charge the device now, this is your 510, screws in, and once it's plugged in, this little light here will come on, and I think it goes red when it's charging and either turns off or goes green when it's fully charged. So something to note always with these chargers is that if you crank these down too tight, they can break and mess up the connections and stuff, so be very careful when using these chargers. And that's about it. One thing to note with these chargers actually is that if you see here that it's a 400 milliamp charger, I wouldn't use anything over 500 milliamps for the wall adapter, because these batteries cannot handle too much power. They're small batteries, 650 milliamp hours, basically no amp limit. You want to be careful about what you're using. Don't use your phone charger if it's more than 500 milliamps. It's probably about an amp. Definitely do not use a 2 amp charger for this thing. So that's about it for all of it. There is venting at the bottom, which is nice to see, and size wise it's relatively small, fits in the hand nice, it's stealthy. It basically is just an improved Evod kit, except it's not really improved, and we'll talk about that when I talk about vaping it. So let's go and do that. So let's go over some pros and cons of this little kit. Let's start with the cons. The main con for me was the airflow. With those 3 holes, if you saw it up close, that's way too much airflow, in my opinion, for a comfortable vape that is similar to a cigarette. In my opinion, a starter kit especially, the vape should be very restricted. You should have to really suck on it to get that vapor out of, so that it feels closer to a cigarette drag. It needs to be very restricted. And with this, it was just too loose. So if you look at it now, I have 2 pieces of tape just covering those holes. If you get one of these, you can make it look prettier. This is just, I just put this together quickly to show you. But this makes it much more satisfying. Now you can see that I took a few of what I call primer pulls, and that's basically these. And the reason I do that is because this battery is not powerful enough to heat up the coil quickly enough. So if you take those primer puffs, it kind of heats up the coil so that on that last inhale, it's satisfying. That's a con, and the fact that they tell you not to put this tank on something else is also a con, because if you do not find this satisfying, if you don't want to get used to taking those primer pulls, you should definitely put it on something else. It's completely safe to put it on something else as well. I'll show you that in a bit. Other cons. The battery life is not very long. It's 650 milliamp hours, and battery life is kind of subjective, because if you smoke half a pack a day, this is a nice little kit to get you through the day. But if you do get more, then you have to buy more of them. Not that big of a deal, because this costs like 11 US, and in my opinion, that is incredible. 11 US, this is now going into the pros pretty much. 11 US is the cheapest kit that I've ever seen on the market, and that is a really good thing. This kit is one of the most expensive starter kits. It doesn't come all together, but I like to recommend this as a starter kit as well. It's obviously wider, it's in the shape of a box, but you can see that it's much shorter. Now, I'll turn this on, and this is the vape that you get off a starter kit that would generally cost you 100-ish Canadian dollars, so whatever that is in US, maybe 70 bucks. And you can see that it heats up quicker, there's more vapor. In my opinion, it's much more satisfying, but in that case, you're spending a lot more money. I could buy 10 of these or 15 or whatever before buying one of these. Personally, if I had that much money, I would buy this, but if you don't, I definitely think this is an okay option. The other pros are the top fill. Being able to fill it from the top is a huge improvement from the old Evods. It makes it very easy. Just make sure it's not on the side when you do it, or you'll get liquid all over your hands. And then the drip tip, which is essentially just a mouthpiece, but vapors call it a drip tip. It's replaceable, it's small like a cigarette, it's very effective, and I like it. Now, the final thing is how efficient this is at delivering nicotine, because it is not efficient at all. With this kit, I can fill this with an 8 milligram e-liquid, 8 milligrams of nicotine, and I can be completely satisfied. With this, I needed to fill this with a 24 milligram e-juice to feel anything. Right now, the same 24 milligram tobacco menthol juice is in here. And it's doing the trick. I could probably get through the day using this. It wouldn't be that satisfying knowing what I know about other devices, but if I only had 11 US to spend, this would get me through the day. Okay, so I'm gonna show you real quick how this performs on this little kit. Now, if I take off the tank, you can see the threading and connection on the top of that and the connection on the top of this. Very different. This is not going to fit on top of there. So what you need if you are going to get one of these batteries is an adapter called just an Ego or a 510 to Ego adapter, and that will make it very easy to just screw this on and be able to vape it. And I actually kind of like how that looks. So let's change the power, because something like this with a 1.6 ohm coil, you don't want to vape this much above maybe 10 watts. So sure, let's set this to 10 watts and see how it vapes. And in that case, 24 milligrams is way too much. This actually performs very well, and I don't know why I haven't really done this yet. I should have done this before, but 10 watts on this little mini volt kit, it's so much better. That is a monster throat hit. It feels awesome. The flavor is good. Basically, If you can afford it, get a battery with at least the bottom where you can spin it and adjust the power, because that will make a world of difference. Just a constant 3.7 volts is not going to do the trick on here. I don't know why, or at least in that kit it's not. I have tried this already with this kit, but I haven't tried it with the airflow cut down. Cut off the airflow, put this on a better battery, and it will perform awesome. I could probably get away with like a 12 milligrams in here, maybe still an 18. I don't know, I like my nicotine, but it's definitely making a huge difference on here. I actually just filmed this after I was done everything, so let's go back to wherever we were. As far as I know, there is no company that charges you more money for more nicotine in the e-liquid, so that's not the biggest deal. If you need that amount of nicotine, get that amount of nicotine. What I do notice is that even though the throat hit is not really there, at 24 milligrams, after a few hits of this, I can feel the nicotine. I'm starting to get dizzy. I'm starting to get dizzy now. And it's definitely, the nicotine is affecting me. It's just strange that it's not creating a lot of vapor and I'm not really feeling it in my throat, which I would normally expect out of a 24. If I put a 24 in something like this, it would destroy my throat. It would hurt really bad. It would be uncomfortable and I would be on the floor probably crying. Not exactly, but it would be way too much. And most people, if they hear you say you're using 24 milligrams, they must be like, oh shit, you must be smoking 2+ packs a day. With this, I would say if you're smoking a pack a day or a little bit more, you could probably get away with a 24 and it would be okay. That's about it for this little kit. If you have any questions about it, leave a comment below. If you have one of these, let people know your experience with using this, because this is only one opinion from me and I would like to hear some opinions from people who started off with one of these. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. I can't blow a cloud into the camera because this does not create enough vapor. I'll use this one. Still not that good.